friendship that'll never ever end.
No, this is a much more serious Firefly Fun House theory video. That's much better. Ever since the beginning of the Firefly Fun House, we've watched it believing there is a darker, more sinister motive at play than everything we've already seen to date. Now, we've had Ramblin' Rabbit tell us that there is something going on in the Funhouse. He wanted to expose it. A lot of people think that is the Fiend, but we already know about the Fiend. We knew about the Fiend when he said that. So why would Ramblin' Rabbit want to tell us about a secret we already know? It's not a secret. Well, lately, I think Bray Wyatt may have given us the biggest clue to try and work out the Funhouse. On Twitter, he has told us life is a circle. He's mentioned the bright side, the dark side. Inevitably, the circle always comes around, and around we go. He actually used it on the Firefly Funhouse last night on SmackDown, and the whole episode was basically based around a circle. So let's have a look at a circle. We're going to call this Bray Wyatt Circle, okay? The blue bit you see will represent time, but because this is Bray's circle, let's put the Fiend Bray Wyatt directly in the center of his circle. Now, obviously, when we're talking about other people, they will be in the center of their circle. It kind of then does make sense. Now, you got to assume that this circle represents everything. Everything you see in blue represents everything that is the Fiend, that is Bray Wyatt, and everything he's done within his life, his career, is contained within it. You have the bright side on top, the dark side down the bottom. I'm assuming that means heel, hurt, heel, babyface. But what does a circle really do?
Never ever end.
It never ever ends. Was that hidden in the intro of the Funhouse this entire time? Seriously, put your finger on your screen right now and go round the circle. When do you ever end? Literally, I'm assuming there's like 100 people right now with their finger going round and round and round and round, never ever ending. They're stuck in a constant loop because a circle doesn't end. But we're saying that inside the circle is time. So let's put time on the circle. You can see Bray Wyatt's WWE debut, his first WrestleMania versus The Undertaker, the Firefly Fun House, Universal Championship, and around we go again. Now, what I think is most interesting about this is someone, or a few of you actually, tweeted me, YouTube commented about the fact on last night's Firefly Fun House, Bray sounded very much like the old cult leader Bray. Well, that would make a lot of sense because he's just lost the Universal Championship. He's probably just reinvented himself because he's going around again. Take a close look in this corner. You can see everything that happened before his WWE debut. His birth as Wyndham. You got Sister Abigail. He's sort of maybe coming up with Husky Harris. The inspiration behind Bray Wyatt was Waylon Mercy. It's a Firefly Funhouse contained within that small part of the circle. But I don't want to talk about time. I want to talk about the Fiend's opponents. So we put them around the circle, roughly where they would be. Now, obviously, Bray's had a lot more matches than this. I've spread this out so much that I would assume in that circle we've just seen, they'd literally fill up a tiny blob. But for the sake of YouTube and the sake of trying to make this theory more interesting and relevant and more easy to understand, I've spaced them out into corners. Now, obviously, we got Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, Daniel Bryan, and John Cena will be the Fiend's next opponent at WrestleMania. Now, I know straight away some people will be in the comments saying, well, what about the people he's attacked? What about Miz? What about Goldberg? Bray Wyatt had matches with Miz and Goldberg, and I completely do agree with that. But well, I think actually Bray Wyatt may have answered that question for me. In fact, he did on Twitter. He actually tweeted out to my Mockingbird, not a loss, but instead a sacrifice. He wasn't a chapter in my tale. I began with a mission and now I'm where I'm supposed to be. You'll see. Goldberg was never a chapter in the tale of the Fiend. Neither was The Miz. So Goldberg kind of symbolise this, Goldberg actually invaded the Fiend circle, which he did. He challenged the Fiend to the match at Super Showdown. The Fiend is normally the person to challenge people. Daniel Bryan did it, but at that point, his chapter was already being written. So the Fiend never got a chance to actually invade Goldberg because Goldberg did it first, and Bray just basically travelled around Goldberg's circle. Now let's go back to his original opponents. He's actually given each one a chapter in the tale of Bray Wyatt. I really like this. Chapter 1 being Finn Balor, Chapter 2 Seth Rollins, Chapter 3 Daniel Bryan, and Chapter 4 will be John Cena. Now, I genuinely like this. I think he calls it The Revenge is a Confession of Pain. And obviously he's looking for revenge for his previous mistakes. And he's actually given Chapter 3 and Chapter 4 a name. Chapter 3 was Judas. Well, Daniel Bryan turned his back on the Wyatt family. Judas. And Chapter 4 with John Cena will actually be titled Atonement and the Addict. Now, Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 may have had titles. I've asked Jesse, Austin, Joe, you name it. I've asked lots of people on Twitter. No one actually seems to know what those titles were. There is no tweets on Bray Wyatt's Twitter page. Maybe he deleted them. Maybe they're not relevant. Who knows? But if you know them, let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. But we're going to look specifically at John Cena's chapter, Chapter 4. Atonement means the action of making amends for a wrong or injury. So we can assume that means Bray Wyatt. He wants to atone. The addict is John Cena. John Cena cut that whole promo on SmackDown about how WrestleMania had to go on without him. He wasn't going to be a part of WrestleMania. He basically said he didn't want to take the spotlight away from the youth in the locker room, and he respectfully walked away until Bray Wyatt come down and challenged John Cena. John Cena then nodded the cap very quickly. The match is on. What? Because he's addicted to wrestling. And that is exactly what happens. The Fiend comes down. Bray Wyatt came down to John Cena. He invaded the story of John Cena. When the Fiend appears, no one knows he's coming. Finn Balor, the very first time he attacked him, had no idea the Fiend was coming. Every attack didn't know the Fiend was coming. Do you remember when he attacked Kurt Angle? We was all shocked. When he did it to Mick Foley, we was all shocked. And that is what happened. If the Fiend had invaded Goldberg's circle, well, the Fiend's the one in control. The Fiend's the one that's writing the story. But instead, unfortunately, it was the other way around. Maybe that's because the Fiend, Bray Wyatt, knew that if Goldberg invaded his circle, well, I can lose my title and I can go on the path I want to be on. Now, you can look at the WWE superstars, the opponents of the Fiend, Cena, Balor, Seth, and Bryan, and you can put them in their own circle. There they are doing their own thing. They've all got their own separate timelines, the light, the dark, the heal, the hurt, the anger, the pain, all contained within it, their entire WWE careers. And then boom, comes the Fiend, smack into their circle. And what can't you see anymore? An entire portion of their time. The Fiend takes that away and he changes them. He changes that time because they let him in. We'll get to that more in a minute. But think about it. Finn Balor is now the Prince in NXT. He was never Prince in WWE before that. Seth Rollins was the Architect. He's now the Messiah. Daniel Bryan's now doing whatever Daniel Bryan is doing with Drew Gulak. And who knows what's going to happen with John Cena following their match at WrestleMania. And I love this because you can take any WWE superstar, and yes, I included Liv Morgan because I knew it would really annoy Austin, and I really wanted to do that, so thumbs up, thank you Austin. But you can take any WWE superstar, again, they've got their circle which contains all of their time, all of their essence, everything that is them, and then the Fiend is next to them. The Fiend is another WWE superstar doing his thing. And if he wanted to, he could inject himself into their time, into their essence, into everything that they are, and rewrite their paths on their WWE careers. I really like that. And of course, we always hear, let me in. I said it earlier. It kind of does make a bit of sense that the Fiend wants to be let into people's timelines. So when he's let in, he can change them. I really love this theory of him being able to change people because he invades their circle. And I think this is the best way we can actually symbolize this, is with this circle that Bray Wyatt keeps talking about. There's a reason he's continually talking about a circle. And not only that, I think we could play in the red lights to it as well. WWE seems to have stopped using them. I think it's a good thing. A lot of people complained about them. Personally, I never minded them. But they could play into the story because the Fiend could say they're a power as he's about to change people. Maybe they're sort of symbolic of the Fiend invading, the clash of the circles where the Fiend's circle has taken over the opponent's circle. Maybe that's the symbolism of the red lights. I think that's a stretch, but it could work. Now, also, if you followed Matt Hardy's Free to Delete, or Matt Hardy throughout his entire Broken Brilliance character, you kind of might get this even more now. Remember, Matt Hardy's essence, Zenith, is dying. That is the essence inside of him, the deity that makes Matt Hardy the broken Matt Hardy we all know and love. It's dying. He's now got the Young Bucks to come and free Zenith from him. And he's basically probably going to resurrect into something new. But if you look at his circle right now, there would be Zenith inside his circle. Make sense? And we don't know if Zenith is male or female. Well, I personally don't anyway. Never met the guy, never met the girl. I'm more than happy never doing that. Sounds like a nice dude, girl, I don't know. But you would expect to see them in Matt Hardy's circle, and you would do the exact same with Bray Wyatt and the Fiend. Of course, Bray Wyatt let him in. He's learnt to control whatever power the Fiend has given Bray, and now here we are. The Fiend will forever be part of Bray Wyatt's circle. I really love this theory. I think it's got legs. I think it's really cool. It's a cool way to look at the Firefly Fun House. I think the intro saying never ever end, a circle never ever ends. Bray Wyatt literally said, and around we go again. I think that is very, very, very interesting. I really want to know what you guys think, so make sure you literally go down to the main comment section on the video and let me know your thoughts. Of course, if you are watching for the very first time, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We've already smashed 20,000 subscribers and we're still going strong, so thank you for that. Huge thumbs up on the video would be appreciated, so smash that like button. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at CWrestlingUK. I will, as always, see you next time. Peace!
We're really glad that you're our friend, and this is a friendship that'll never ever end.